they have not actually proved that they have interest in protecting these survivors.
Not only he wants to take umbrage, and we should be outraged.
Correct.
That's the bottom line. You just laid it out. But remember, Todd Blanche is the person who actually went and personally met with Ghislaine Maxwell. And then somehow that turned into some kind of sweetheart deal for her in terms of where she was placed in prison. Why? I mean, we still don't really know. Every indication has always been that they will do whatever seems to be most important to protect Donald Trump or to advance his mission, not to pay attention to people who've raised really important claims. And by the way, this is the same Department of Justice that was the one who was throwing tinder, like dried twigs, while they poured propane over the conspiracy theories that were Jeffrey Epstein when they thought it was useful to them, and then are in this problem because they then lit the match and dropped it on the tinder and started the bonfire. And now it's like, it's just our deep concern for these victims that we are not bringing forth documents and not doing a good job redacting the ones we do bring forward to protect them.
I'd say it's unbelievable, but here we are.
Mary, could I ask here, or Maya too? Actually, Maya, let's go to you on this one here, if I could, because what part of when we're going through the 3 million documents here was the fact that there's a series of allegations that were made against Donald Trump in them, and they either were not substantiated by the Department of Justice or they were not able to be corroborated because of an inability, apparently, to follow up with these contacts that made the allegations. And that is the reason that we are not putting them on air, because they have not been substantiated, apparently, by the Department of Justice. But as an advocate for victims, how can the public be sure that the DOJ, especially when the man presenting here today used to be Donald Trump's defense lawyer, is in fact sure that the victims who have come forward or made these allegations were effectively made sure that they were intended to be corroborated or had a proper investigation conducted?
They can't. And that's the problem with how this administration has treated both of its nominations and appointments. I mean, the fact that they've essentially made the Department of Donald Trump, not the Department of Justice. They have eradicated the separation between the White House and the Department of Justice, even creating a position that's supposed to be a Department of Justice position in this fraud, I don't know what to call it because I refuse to call it a formal part of the department, and placing it in the White House. When you have an attorney general who is not only his attorney, who's now saying, I'm personally directing prosecutions against people seemingly without sufficient evidence from all we can tell. This is an actual example of what happens to the ability to trust in our government when it has so blatantly said, we are the employees of Donald Trump, not the employees of the American people.
More Epstein survivors spoke out today. They were responding to the Trump DOJ release. Take a listen to what they had to say. Oh, this is not sound. This is a read. All right. This latest release of Jeffrey Epstein's files is being sold as transparency. But what it actually does is expose survivors. Once again, survivors are having their names and identifying information exposed, while the men who abused us remain hidden and protected. The Justice Department cannot claim it is finished releasing files until every legally required document is released and every abuser and enabler is fully exposed. We need to hear directly from Attorney General Pam Bondi when she appears before the House Judiciary Committee on February 11th. Survivors deserve answers and the public deserves the truth. Mary, such strong statements from the survivors today. They frankly should not have to do this. The names we actually should have learned today, the men who abused these women when they were girls, those men, as of this hour, are still being protected. But some identifying information of the survivors has been in these documents. Our own Lisa Rubin found first and last names, driver's licenses, and just her review of these documents. So the survivors are being re-traumatized today while the abusers are still being protected.
And let's not forget that part of the reason that these releases are so delayed, I mean, this should have been all turned over long ago, was because the department said it had to engage in this careful review to make sure that anything that should be redacted would be redacted. That didn't happen. Obviously, Stacey, I believe it was Williams who you had on earlier, said this was messy and this is dangerous, and that's exactly what it was. And it does make you wonder, what were they doing with all that time? The reporting had been that there were hundreds of prosecutors in different U.S. attorneys' offices and even the National Security Division who were going through these documents. Now, in one sense, they're going to be looking, is there some classified information that needs to be redacted? But they also should have been redacting the victims' identifying information. This is a violation of their privacy. It's a violation of victims' rights. And I won't be surprised if there isn't litigation that comes from it. But litigation or no, the important part is this is sloppy. It puts people at risk. And you hit the nail on the head. It is re-victimizing the victims who've been fighting so hard for so long to get some justice.